Welcome back to the Kick and Post YouTube channel. I am your host, Jamal Thompson, and I am with Say Less K. How you doing, brother?
Good, a little shiny. Sorry, I had some Aquaphor I just put on, but
Always been
you know,
shiny over here.
that's crazy.
Can't
I'm
lie
good,
to you.
man. How you feeling?
I'm good. It's been a good off season for football. We
How you
talked
feeling
about
as
how
a
the off
Jags
season is the
fan?
real season. Don't bring that up.
My bad.
Don't bring that up. Why you brought that up?
Um, I think that emotion means more here on this channel.
Okay.
How you feeling?
All right. Let's do it. Um. I don't know what to think, man. I gotta trust and believe. Um. Things went right last year when I had some question marks about what we were doing.
Okay.
This offseason it started off pretty rough. The one thing I asked is let's not lose Devin Lloyd. We lost him the first night of free agency. He went and got the bag. Kudos
That's
to him.
true.
Shout out to the Panthers, right? So can't fault a man for chasing a bag and a young team. It's not like he left for a situation that was, just trying to chase a ring per se. Um, he went to a situation where they're building young quarterback, young receiving core. You know what I mean? Defense on the rise. J.C. Horn's a good shutdown corner over there. Like, it's a good situation in another division that's winnable, right? So I can't be mad at the landing spot. I wanted him though to stay on the on the roster, and then I was like, okay, there's a strong possibility we lose Travis Etienne. I'm gonna pronounce the boy's name right, even though he's gone. And I was kind of right. He's gone, right? Which kind of leads into the point of this video, man. RB offseason moves, free agency and trades, right? We discussed how we had our favorite buy low opportunities in the running back market. Some of those buy lows are no longer buy lows, or they're still somewhat in that realm because I haven't heard any LaQuint Allen talk,
Oh
even though I
Lord.
do think he's rocketed up that depth chart a bit since the leaving of Travis.
Yeah.
Um, but Travis moves on. The Saints come in and take him, spend a pretty hefty bag on him as well for him to potentially be their starting running back this year. And the Jaguars go into, at least right now, the draft with a backfield of Tootin, LaQuint Allen, and recently signed Chris Rodriguez. Um, Linebacking core missing Devin Lloyd. So you asked how I'm feeling as a Jags fan. That's how I'm feeling. We haven't made any big moves in free agency. As a Bengals fan, you could relate. There hasn't been any big names to join the roster. The only difference is you didn't wake up and lose Chase Brown. You didn't wake up. Well, you did wake up and lose one of your
Yeah.
better defensive
Lost
players,
Trey.
Trey
Yeah.
Hendrickson, but that
But
was
we knew
kind
that
of
was
written.
coming.
That
Yeah,
was already written on the that was written
done weeks ago,
since what
brother.
happened last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um, but from a fantasy standpoint, there's a lot to be excited about. A lot of names moved around. Guys who've been watching for years are getting new opportunities. Um, I talked about the Travis Etienne landing from a unbiased perspective. I think the Saints offense is has the potential to be on the rise. We I know I did talk smack about their draft pick last year, but down the stretch, the quarterback looks like the real deal. Shuck looks like he has what it takes to be a starting quarterback in the league.
yeah.
I can't even trip, I can't even front. And you put a running back with the skill set of Travis behind him, and invest in that wide receiving core a little bit more. I think sky's the limit for that offense. He uses his legs very well. He goes through his reads very well. He has a stronger arm than I thought. Um, I'm okay with them trying to invest in him a little bit. And in terms of fantasy, we're still banking on Travis being healthy consistently. Last year, he showed he can do that. With a new contract and a new environment, it leaves a lot of stuff up in the air. But I still don't think he goes into an area where he's undraftable. I don't think you'll see him earlier than like the 6th round in redraft, maybe the 5th round in redraft. Um, and in Dynasty, I don't think his price has really elevated. It's not like he landed with the Chiefs, which we'll go into that conversation, or he landed with Seattle, or he landed with Detroit, right? He landed with the Saints, which aren't really a sexy place to be right now if you're a fantasy running back. Um, how do you feel about the Travis Etienne move?
That name's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I
But
don't know if I could keep doing it. I'm trying. I'm trying to be
yeah.
respectful. I don't know if I could keep doing it though.
I mean, it's early on, but My thoughts on it is this, especially if like redraft last year, there's a certain running back that was getting drafted a little bit earlier than he should have, solely because he was a New Orleans running back. So like if we give that much credit to Alvin Kamara, who hasn't really been that good recently, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying
Time out,
usage
time out, time
wise,
out, time
like
out, time out, time out.
go ahead.
Alvin Kamara was not getting drafted because he was the New Orleans running back. Alvin
There's a lot
Kamara
of
is
drafts
getting
that I was
drafted
in.
because he was Alvin Kamara. Like,
But yeah, when's the last time he's been Alvin
that's
Kamara?
the thing. You keep drafting the Joe Mixons of the world because he's been Joe Mixon. You keep
Yeah.
drafting the Alvin Kamaras of the world because he's been Alvin Kamara, right?
So that's my viewpoint is
Alvin,
that if you're gonna
yeah, but
draft him
it's
because
not
he was
because
Alvin
he's the Saints
Kamara,
running back.
it is. In terms of
No,
usage,
you
it's
know
like
why?
who is he fighting for?
Kendrick
You know?
Miller, and Devin Neal went undrafted almost in every draft when they were the direct line to starting running back if Alvin Kamara got hurt, who's been dealing with injuries the last couple years, and nobody
Yeah,
cared
but
that
for
they were
his
the New
role though.
Orleans running back. What?
But what the role entails, the amount of touches from a fantasy standpoint, that's why people went after him because the
Because
opportunity
he
is there.
garners the catches, and it's not because
Well, who
of
else is going to get the ball? That's the point of being the New Orleans
but
running
it's
back.
because it's Kamara,
Correct.
not the New Orleans running back situation. Because if you
It
put a
adds
running
on that.
back there that isn't Alvin Kamara, they go way down.
Yeah, but they're still getting 10 to 12 touches a game, depending on who it is. It's the same thing with ETN. He's going to get the volume because he's the New Orleans running back. Like,
No,
it's the same.
it's a skill
Watch,
set
it's the
thing.
same.
It's a
Skill
skill
set as
set
well.
thing.
He can be used more in different positions in that offense because they lack weapons. The only other weapon they have
Well, but
right
it's
now
also
is
because he's a pass
Olave.
catcher.
And what is Travis A-Chain?
Well, yes, he is that, but he has not produced at the level of a Kamara. So it's not gonna have him
Correct.
rocketeered up there.
But that's the
That's
thing.
the
In
difference. That's what I'm saying.
Jacksonville, he didn't
Like,
have to do that. Y'all had people.
it's
Y'all
gonna
had pass
adjust.
catchers.
It's at one point we did need that from him, and he couldn't be that.
Early on, yes, I'll give you that. But
He
later
was
down the
hurt.
line, it was just a
Yeah.
lot of opportunity elsewhere, and y'all best chance to win was through Lawrence. Whereas with New
No, for sure.
Orleans, it's going to be the same thing with Tyler. But like you said, a young quarterback, not the best offensive line. They're going to utilize him in the pass game where check down county is going to be his thing. He's going to get those 1 point catches for 2 yards, and it's going to stack up just because of the situation. He's the New Orleans running back, bro. Like it
Situation and skill
just
set. Yes.
yeah, situation and skill set that garners in his favor. So that's why, like you said, his value isn't different in
We keep
comparison to where he
putting
was
this
just at.
moniker of like where he's at. It's
I see the
skill
added
set
value. I see the
and
added
where he
value in it.
landed.
Same reason why people drafted
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire early. It's just a landing spot. It wasn't talent. This one is talent and landing spot. That's all I'm saying. Like, I
I
like
was
it.
about to say you're proving my point. Like
Yeah,
this isn't
we're
the
saying the
Kansas City
same thing.
situation where
No.
where you got people like Brashad Smith getting drafted and stuff because he's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you're
it's a
not
transit
drafting Brashad
talent.
Smith if he went to the Saints. You got to have the talent to go with the situation. Hence, an Alvin Kamara being like a 5th-round pick, right? And that's what I'm saying. Etienne, Travis, right, is
Yeah,
gonna end up in that 5th round, maybe 6th round,
yeah,
because of again he has a skill set and the opportunity. He won't be a 9th-round pick like he was last year,
no
which was
shot.
still crazy. I'm
I
never
just
gonna
see
stop.
you see
That
a
was
team
crazy.
invest heavy at that position. If you use a first round, early second round running back, if you sign a running back to a $48 million deal, you got some plans to use them. Like, there's no way you're wasting that money for what?
No, for
Like,
sure,
to say you got
for
a
sure.
shiny Lambo, like, no, like, you're gonna put that Lambo to work. Like,
I
that's the
think it's a
thing.
good
Like,
situation. It wasn't my favorite landing spot, but it's a good situation
nah,
to make sense for both parties.
yeah,
And in fantasy, for the right price, I'm willing to target him to be a depth piece on a roster that I have.
yeah,
I am willing to move off of him again, right price. Um, he's a very movable asset. And in redraft, I don't know where I'm at with it yet. It depends on who's around there. It's not like last year where I see him and I'm clicking draft every time I see him on the board. Because usually I have my top 2 backs, my top 3 wide receivers, a quarterback, and he's still on the board. You get me? Like,
yeah.
it's not that type of situation this year. I'm going to have to decide between Travis Etienne and maybe my RB2. Is he going to be my RB2 or the guy I actually want going to be my RB2? Or is it going to be my second best wide receiver or Travis? Like, And I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm willing to make those decisions with the new situation, because that offensive line still hasn't really shown me that they got it like that. I watched them struggle against Miami front last year on live TV, and I'm using Miami front lightly because their defensive line is pretty terrible as well. So that's all I'm saying. Good landing spot for him. And on the flip side for the Jags, they replace him with Chris Rodriguez. Kidding.
yeah, I gotta mention that.
They add Chris
Yeah,
Rodriguez as a depth piece. I'm really not writing home about that. If anything, it lets me know a little bit more about what they think about Tootin and what they think about LaQuint Allen. And I think those guys, outside of something happening in the draft, which is very likely, it would be a second round to third round addition. Most likely will not spend those picks on RB, seeing that we need to replace a defensive starter at linebacker. So we're probably looking at a day 3 pick if we decide to go for a running back. That leads me to believe it's Tootin LaQuint Allen's job, at least now. 1 year in the system, and Tootin has the draft capital. Am I taking Tootin where he'll probably be going in drafts? No.
and he's gonna go a little bit higher than he should.
Yes. I
Really?
think he's 100%. I mean, the hype was there with what he ran in the 40. The fact he wasn't really able to supplant Travis might leave a little sour taste in people's mouth, because people did take him in like the 8th and the 7th, expecting him to be the overall starter the whole year, and Travis never relinquished that role, right? He did have red zone usage. He did look good down there at times, good pass catcher. And if they believe he's going to go from like a 30% usage to like a 65% usage, I think the Jags offense is still going to be good. You know, we could move the ball on most Sundays. Um, Great pass catchers. Well, decent pass catchers. I think above average quarterback. We're going to be in the red zone. He's going to get those opportunities.
Yeah.
It's just what comes out of the offseason rumor mill, right? Are we going to get LaQuint Allen hype? Because I'm a LaQuint Allen guy. If we get that hype, that'll tone down Tootin's draft stock. If we hear Tootin's 90% with the ones, Allen's still running special teams, then that's 100% going to bring things the other direction for Tootin. Or if we end up with like a Singleton out of Penn State on day 3, or we take like a Hamby or one of the Indiana running backs on day 3, that's going to also stir up the rumor mill like, oh, do they not trust the running backs? So we got to see what happens, honestly, preseason. In Dynasty, I'm willing to target both Tootin and Allen at the right price. In redraft, I'm probably off Tootin until I realize where the draft stock falls. In redraft, I'm definitely on the Allen train because it'll be a late round pick again, depending on what the news rolls around. But I don't care about Chris Rodriguez. I'll throw that out there. I'm pretending like he didn't even get signed, so
Yeah, we don't even gotta review that one.
we ain't even got to review that.
Yeah, I know you put me on Tootin a while ago. I mean, skill set and play style is not too far off from ETN. He just doesn't execute at that level
A
yet.
little bit
Could he?
undersized too, but
Yeah, undersized, but I mean, it's the same. It's been essentially the same role that we saw Travis is in. So can he fill those shoes? Time will tell. We'll see. I hope he does, because then it makes more sense of why you didn't give him 48 million. But like once again, I think New Orleans is one of the few teams that's willing to spend at that position because they have to.
there's one
Whereas with
other team.
y'all, who? The Jags?
Nah,
Ooh, let me think.
Kansas City.
Great segue. I don't want to talk about that one. It hurts, man.
We got to talk about it though.
I don't even think about it, bro. Like, it doesn't
We
enter
got to
my
talk about it
conscious.
though.
Like,
So this has
yeah,
been a
it's
K9 page from the beginning of the playoffs.
no longer a K9 page.
It's
It's
still a
over.
K9 page. You know
Not
why?
for me. Not for me.
Because we saw the talent. We
Yeah.
saw it for years. We knew what was there potentially, right? And we've made fun on numerous occasions, posted or not posted, about what Kansas City has done at the running back position and how they've just completely been negligent, right? We did a guys you should target in Dynasty vid that never posted, saying that if you really want to sell on hype, Brees Hall during that trade window during the season, move him because Brees Hall's going to end up with the Kansas City Chiefs. Trade deadline came and went. He was still on that Jets roster, right? If you sold him at that hype rumor spot going to Kansas City, you would have made crazy bag, right? Now you have a running back with talent. Allegedly, he's not a good pass catcher. I've seen him do well in that game, though. I've seen him be more than efficient catching the ball out the backfield. Good downhill runner behind an offensive line that is not bad. It seems like we're getting Patrick Mahomes back in the early half of the season.
You say
They
that.
re-signed Travis Kelce. Everything's looking on the up and up, and you add an actual difference maker in the backfield, right? Once upon a time, it could have been JT in that backfield. They went CEH.
Disgusting work.
They decided, you know what? Let's stop being cute. Running back who could actually run the ball. We don't need a seventh round Rutgers running back that runs like the ground is on fire. Shouts out to him. He'll be in Detroit, right? But like they went and get a guy who's smooth, quick, great cut, Super Bowl MVP, helped a team win a Super Bowl. You cannot tell me without K9 that that game is looking the way that it looked. They might still won it. I won't lie. That defense was on another level. Drake May was seeing ghosts. It was bad. Guys were dropping passes. It was bad. But I don't think it would have been completely out of the water if K9 wasn't doing the work he was doing in that game. Say all that to say this. Kansas City signs him to a contract of consequence, big contract. And like you said about big contracts, you don't spend $40 million plus and make somebody one of the top 5 paid running backs in the league for him to just block and split touches with Rashad Smith. This is not the Seattle Seahawks situation where he's your between the 20s running back and then you bring in Charbonnet to score touchdowns. He's going to be their workhorse. And I think he has the talent to do so. And he's still pretty young. And his price tag in fantasy has skyrocketed. Am I going to pay that? No. I'm sorry. Because running backs who pound the ball, I love K9, right? But running backs that pound the football, unless they're planning to use him like a Jahmyr Gibbs, which I don't think the passing volume is going to be there. Mahomes still doesn't pass to the running back. Although, coming off the injury he's coming off of, he might not be as mobile. He might play more in the pocket. And they might scheme a little bit more passes to the running back. I might need to see it first. Because the price tag is going to be not willing to pay that.
Beyond.
And if you're coming to me, price tag is going to be
Because that's the thing, man. I hate you said it best. And it's just simple. The Kansas City Chiefs signed the Super Bowl MVP. Like a legit Super Bowl MVP is what they just added to their roster. And it wasn't free, but it's worth every penny. Like, they're going to be so OP. He's going to open up for the game for so many other players. And they are a team that has talent everywhere. Like, Kelsey's still Kelsey. You still have to game plan for him, unfortunately.
I feel like there'll be a resurgence there. Because now when he blocks on the edge, the times that he does come down and block, there's going to be somebody that he's not able to outrun coming out that backfield. Like, he's going to be able to see what happens when you set an edge and let somebody that's an actual athlete come around. A factor, somebody you got to plan for. Put maybe 8 in the box sometimes, depending on how they're playing. Right? Imagine Rashee Rice.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, bro. Like,
these deep threats getting over the top.
It's going to be fun, especially, and I hate to say this, even with Justin Fields. It's just Andy Reid's that guy where he's going to have a package or two for him. He might plot twist. You could see the Wildcat come back.
Oh, like, I mean, K9 did run a little bit of Wildcat in
saying,
Seattle too.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys that just love football, have fun, and you got Andy Reid. I never underestimate that man. So, as a Bengals fan, very sad. As an NFL fan, excited.
As a fantasy fan.
It's getting scary out there. So
as a fantasy fan, yeah. We talking about redraft. I don't know if you'll be able to pay the price. I don't know if he'll necessarily be. I don't see him being a first round pick by any means.
I could see him being a late first. You can make the argument.
Yeah, I'm not saying like I'm not saying like it'd be impossible. I'm just saying like it's very unlikely with his play style, right?
But that's the thing. If I have the 112, I'm probably taking him on that turn from a 112 to 2-1.
Well, talk about why you plan to take him at that turn, because I think you have a little bit more faith in his touchdown upside, no?
I look at the contract. You don't pay a man that much unless you have plans with him. I think he's going to be very efficient. He's going to get a good amount of touches, but smart touches, and I think he's gonna be their finisher in the red zone. Just from what I've seen them do, they once again, Mahomes is coming off injury, so they're gonna rely on the running back a lot more, especially when he's back.
Hmm.
But they've already been doing that with Kareem Hunt, with Pacheco, with McKinnon. Like, that's just Andy Reid's specialty, I believe, is like behind the backfield in the red zone. Like he can throw it. Once they get 5, 10 yards out, they're gonna have some pitch, some outside edge zone, like, and you have actual talent back there now. I saw what you did with these other people, like
That's
what you
true.
tried to do. And he's gonna get all of that. And the next man up is, like we said, Rashad Smith. Like,
I mean,
I
I'm sure
think
they signed somebody else. I haven't checked Spotrac, but
I think they will too, and I think Smith is going to go into like a hybrid role of like gadget style player. He's going to go because he was a receiver in college initially, and then he switched
yeah,
to running back. So he already has that skill set. I think that's where most of his work's going to come from now in certain
they signed
packages,
Amari DeMarcado, by the way.
and that's Buddy Boy from the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, which I
Yeah,
mean, when healthy, he had moments. He's a good, again, pounding up the middle running back.
yeah,
No breakaway speed necessarily, but
yeah. That's just another chess piece for Andy Reid. You don't want
yeah,
breakaway speed. You just want a guy to compound it a little bit, get them boys tired, get them roughed up, and then put some electricity behind that. Like,
a
you
hundred
gotta finish
percent,
the job. Like,
a
it's
hundred
just
percent.
tempo. And the wrong guy got the wrong pieces, and I ain't scared of nothing. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'll never fear a Chief a day in my life, but I can respect it
What it is, it's a good move for
for
him
what
in
it
his
is.
career.
Yeah,
It's a good move if you were holding him in dynasty this entire time, and you were frustrated.
sure.
You might have been somebody who traded a significant asset for K9 in pieces in the past. You might have been somebody who's just holding both K9 and Charbonnet, and you just kind of lucked into potentially two starting running backs on decent offenses. Like it's a good day to be holding both those guys. Put it that way. And I'm not even a Charbonnet guy, but again, barring a move in the draft, they let the Super Bowl MVP walk and give you the keys to the running back backfield, unless you're a Holani believer, right? Like
Yeah,
things are up on the up and up for both those guys with that situation clearing up a little bit. Um, a situation that I feel like is being overcited. People are kind of just writing it off as like a random signing. Is Keaton Mitchell to the Chargers? Now, how do you feel about Keaton Mitchell?
I love the old Keaton Mitchell. We saw flashes of Keaton Mitchell for this year. I think he's gonna have a larger role in Los Angeles, which is great. But it really just depends on how they decide to use him. It's another tempo thing. You got Hampton and Keaton. Keaton's he moves different on the football field. He moves at a different pace. He has that Gibbs style separation with the right lane. You got when healthy, top two, top three offensive line. You got when healthy, maybe a top five quarterback in the league. Like,
Depending who you're talking to, yeah.
depending on who you're talking to. So all I'm saying is the stars are aligning for a guy like that, depending on the usage. He could be effective because we saw when Najee went down, when Hampton went down, a couple other running backs gave us some production, and it's like you put him with that, yeah, I can see a little bit more. Like, you have some startables back there on some weeks. Like,
Who's their offensive coordinator, Chris?
I'm not sure on that actually. Oh
Mike
no, I do
McDaniel.
know now. Yeah, Buddy Boy. That's
What
even
what
more
did he do with the
dangerous.
running backs?
He's a speedster system guy, but I think my take, he leads with that with the talent that he has. Now, granted, that's he gets the best out of his players, which any great coach should, but
Mm.
that old system suited Tua's best assets. With Justin Herbert, it's like another chess piece. Like
I feel like he'll
whatever
open up
you
the
want to
playbook. I
do.
feel like he'll utilize the legs a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Herb's gonna be really good this year, especially from that just from that move alone. Just he's a coach that knows to get the most out of his players, and you give him legit weapons everywhere, like literally everywhere in LA. So,
yeah,
barring
they even
healthy,
went out and got another tight end for him
who they
outside of
get?
um
Don't say Evan Ingram.
no, it's not Evan Ingram. It's a bigger body guy.
What?
His name's evading me right now. I think he was the third string on the Ravens.
Beats me. Beats
Kolar,
me.
Charlie Kolar. I think they got Charlie Kolar
Is he
from the
good?
Ravens. Um, he'll be on the field to block a lot more. But I know people are like a little bit worried about Oronde Gadsden, which here's a
Yeah.
newsflash to the Oronde Gadsden Warriors. He's not going to be playing on the line much next year. Sorry to burst your bubble, kids. You're looking at Darren Waller. That's how they're
Yeah.
going to use him next year. He's
Yeah.
going to be playing off the line as a big receiver. Who was a part of Darren Waller's resurgence this year? Mike McDaniel.
It's valid.
Just saying. So they went and got a blocking tight end so they could take that boy off the line, put him out there to run routes like he did at Syracuse. I'm still on the Rondé Gaston train. This is not that video, but I just figured I should let y'all boys know. Here we go. Amarian Hampton showed me one thing last year. He wasn't ready to take an NFL beating. He
No.
came into the year with injury concerns. He got into the year and got dinged up. He came back for a couple games and got dinged up. And at the back end of the year when they needed him, he was dinged up. Right? Najee got that early injury earlier in the year, but when they both were technically healthy, Najee was eating off his plate a little bit. Granted, it was a little bit of that veteran running back, that scheme that they had with Greg Roman. That's going to be a little bit different now because Mike McDaniel strikes me as if you fit what I'm doing, you're going to be on the field. I just get a little
Yeah.
bit worried about a guy that when he makes that transition from college to the NFL, we see that many nagging injuries. Keaton Mitchell had a big injury. Outside of that big one, he's been pretty available for the Ravens. We've seen him in garbage time. We've seen him in short stints where Derrick Henry had to be off the field, eat up yards, and get upfield pretty quickly. He's a great runner between the tackles. Not really a pass catcher per se, definitely a speed guy. Throw him on in the back half of your trades. You might still be able to get away with you want Jalen Waddle? Okay. Give me a 2026 late first Keaton Mitchell and another piece, depending what you're looking at, right? But throw him in there, like trade seasoning. Whatever you got, whatever you cook up, see if you can sneak Keaton Mitchell off a roster. It's like how I talk about LaQuint Allen. Obviously, this is a little bit bigger of a scale, right? But he doesn't have the production if you're just looking at it from like a layman's perspective. You have to be watching the games and see how he moves on the field to understand like what the potential is. And if Amarian Hampton has a repeat of what his rookie year was, which is not out of the realm of possibility, right? And Keaton Mitchell is forced to be on the field like Kimani Vidal was, he is better than Kimani Vidal. And if that offensive line is healthy, like you said, that's a top 3 offensive line roster when they're not starting backups and free agents. All people are going to remember is what the news was last year. The back end of last year, they were starting like 5 of the worst 6 linemen in the league. That's not going to be the case going into this year if guys come back from injury like they're supposed to. So I love Keaton Mitchell. In the back half rounds where you're wondering who to take, I'm scooping him up and he's on the back half of all my rosters. He's going to be one of my favorite handcuffs to keep because I could see him supplanting. Well, not really supplanting, but I could see Amarian Hampton dealing with injuries again and him being tied to a high-end quarterback with offensive weapons that should be moving the football, that will be in the red zone, and he has the talent to break speed if the box isn't loaded. And I think it's a good opportunity. I'm acquiring him in Dynasty wherever I can. I'm drafting him in every redraft as long as his price point stays below that 14th round pick, which I think is where it will be, hovering in all those handcuff range, right? I'm all about it. I love the Keaton Mitchell signing.
Yeah. Just listening to you speak about it, you sold me a lot more than I was invested initially. But it makes sense. Like keeping everything constant, it makes sense. There is a way that he's that guy that saves your league and might win you a championship depending on how the year plays out, you know?
How do you feel about that guy that almost won you a championship or helped you win some championships last year? You
Which one are you
talked about him
referring
earlier on
to?
the channel.
Yeah, which one? There's a
Gainwell,
couple
baby.
guys. Gainwell. A
We
little
talked about
disappointment.
him being a difference maker. We talked about what he
Yeah.
could be if he was able to stay with the Steelers. Unfortunately, how fate would have it, he moved on, signed a 2-year, $12 million deal, I think is what it was, to go to Tampa. Tampa lets Rashad White walk to the Commanders, but they have Bucky Irving still in that uh, establishment. I think they gave our boy a new contract as well. Um, Syracuse running back. That's evading me.
What, Sean Tucker?
Yeah, I think they gave him a new contract as well.
Yeah, they
So
did.
it's a trio of Bucky Irving, Kenneth Gainwell, Sean Tucker. What do you think his role will be with that team?
Same role as Rashad White. Sadly. Yeah. It's Bucky's job. When Bucky is Bucky, it's Bucky. And that's new for
That's
me.
true.
You know how it was early last year. I'm just like, I couldn't see it with Bucky. And then I saw it this year and then it was gone. I was like, ugh. Right when I hop on the train, he gets hurt. But same job as Rashad White, sadly. That's the running back I wish went to New Orleans. Way better job. But the Bucks, it's interesting to see how they pivot their offense this year with
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans gone. Godwin hasn't really been consistently there. Emeka can be that guy by himself. We'll see. We'll see. So
Price point came down on him a little bit. I'm excited about that.
for who? Emeka?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean slightly, but like you're still paying
for what he could be.
for what he could be, for what we saw. And I've seen a couple players break out early and never break out again. Not saying he's in that boat. I think he's more consistent. I think he will get there. I just think it's too early. I'm buying him mid-season. I think that whole team struggles early on.
I think they have a tremendous fall off in that
Yeah,
NFC South division. Like from being right there contending for winning the division, which worst ending to a division race I've seen in a long time. Um, Teams got better. Atlanta got better coaching. Carolina got better players and more mature players. Those guys are growing into their own. The Saints started looking good down the stretch. They were giving people problems early in the year, but they couldn't close out. If we had the Tyler Shuck we had at the back half of the year, the whole year, they might have came back and won that division. And that's without adding pieces like Travis Etienne, right? So like HN. So like the Bucks just seem to be nosediving. And I'm not a Rashad White fan. I didn't want anything to do with him on the Jags, which is where I thought it was going. It was the writing was on the wall. Liam Cohen as our coach. We let Travis walk. Tampa's letting Rashad White walk. He decided to go be with his college teammate Jaden Daniels. That's cool. Happy for him over there. Um, but Kenneth Gainwell should have shown enough for the Bucks are willing to utilize him a little bit on the field. If he's playing the Rashad White role, that might be good because like Bucky Irving did his thing, but there were games where they were still splitting touches, not 50-50, but like 60-40
yeah,
is somewhat of a decent split. And Gainwell, if utilized the right way, could be a good piece there. I don't like how much they're paying him. I don't love the situation. Baker's more likely to run than dump off a lot of times. And if they're scheming those passes, it doesn't strike me as an older quarterback playing with a good athlete out of the backfield that the offensive weapons are so bad that he's just going to look to get a completion and hope that he can make something of it. That's what helped with Gainwell's lure last year. I look around and DK's getting covered downfield because he could only run in a straight line. And my next best option is Pat Fryermuth, Darnell Washington, Roman Wilson. Like, of course I'm gonna dump it off to you because I know you'll at least be able to do something with it.
yeah.
Unfortunately, in Tampa, you're looking up and you see Emeka, who they've been hyping since his rookie mini camp there, essentially, right? Chris Godwin, who started to come into his own at the back half of the year. You have Kate Otten, who gets slept
Wow,
on, but he's decent,
what
right?
a name.
And then obviously you have Bucky ahead of you. This isn't Jalen Warren, no disrespect. Bucky's a Bucky's a guy, right? So like Bucky's also dealt with some injuries in his career. So it's a good insurance policy. In Dynasty, the price is definitely lowered on Kenneth Gainwell. I'd stash him. I'd throw him in the back half of trades again. I'm really big on stashing up on handcuffs. In any trade I try to build these days, I'm asking for all the backups. I want the Sean Tucker, uh, Kenneth Gainwell, Keaton Mitchells. I want all those guys, right? Tajay Spears. Give me all those guys in the trade. You want a guy? Right now, I'm trying to do a deal for Jared Goff. I'm trying to get him off my roster, right? I won the chip last year in that league. I'm not a Jared Goff guy, and I think this is my last chance to really like sell. He's trying to do a 2028 first for Jared Goff. That's too far out. Right now, I'll do a 2027 first and Keaton Mitchell. And I think I had one other player in mind. It was a young wide receiver for Jared Goff in my 2026 back end first. Because I'm going to take a shot with some of these guys who are like younger backups who could find themselves in a great situation halfway through the season. Because they have guys ahead of them who tend to get banged up. And once given the keys to an offense, we've seen them produce. Seen Kenneth Gainwell be a dog. Helped you a lot last year. So yeah, I hate on
Yeah.
initial view.
Yes.
100% hate on initial view. But I think the talent's still there. And I think he deserves a roster spot regardless, even though the landing spot's not amazing. So I'm with it.
Yeah,
I
not
don't love
amazing.
it, but I'm with it.
Some work to do. But yeah, like you said, I'm with it. I'm invested because you don't got to pay too much for it.
No.
Because that's a respectable price. Like, I can go to sleep knowing what I paid, fair value with immense upside. Like, but I know exactly what I'm getting. Like,
Unfortunately, I don't think Rico Dowdle, who took his spot's going to be in that realm.
no, I think he fell a little bit.
I think he fell a little bit. I think we
A
got
lot
to
of
see
bit.
who gets signed at quarterback.
Yeah,
Um,
matters.
It does matter. And unfortunately, the people who have him are going to be living off that Uncle Rico stretch where he was getting all the touches, and I don't think they're going to be willing to sell him at the correct price point. So the landing spot kind of sucked
Yeah, but even from
from
their
a fantasy
standpoint,
perspective.
like, it sucks, but like when you should have traded him, you didn't. And now his value's lower, so it's like it's like the sunk cost mindset. Like, I'm already down, so I don't might as well keep it. And it's like, no, if it's the ceiling, get rid of it, bro. Like, it's never too late to move. Just don't. It's never too late to
I'm
move.
keeping it, brother. At that point, like,
I'm moving it. I could sell it. I
yeah, I
could
mean, you could pair
sell
it with
water to the
something, and
ocean.
yeah,
It's all
if
about
you
perspective. All
if you
about perspective.
if you're pairing it with something, I get it. Or if you're going to move him individually, cool, right? But like the offense, in my opinion, is going to be a little bit better depending on who's at quarterback.
Yeah, but here's what you do. You sell on the situation. You got Uncle Rico with no competition back there. Who is he really competing with? If they went to sign him, who, let me know.
You'd think Jalen Warren's not comp.
Not really. I think he's gonna get the keys. I think Warren's gonna be a good complement, like 1A, 1B. But I do think, from my
There's no
perspective,
more coach loyalty. I'll put that.
yeah, there's no more coach loyalty, but I do think you know exactly what you're getting from Warren. Not like he's a bad player, but based off of what Rico did, his ceiling's way higher in my opinion. Especially in an
I
offense
get with it.
that if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I think Dotto complements his play style better than Warren. So
I'm
that's
not
just
gonna
going to be
argue
how
that.
the order should be, granted.
I think
Every
he's better in the red zone too,
easily.
which is important. I feel like this Steelers offense struggled to get to the red zone and struggled in the red zone last year. Definitely one of the lower scoring teams all year. With the addition of Michael Pittman, with the addition of Rico
Yeah.
Dowdle, you have a pass catcher who runs decent routes and we'd be able to catch intermediate and short passes, unlike the wide receiver one they had previously. DK could go back to a lot more of his role, which is to try to take the top off the defense and let the underneath guys work, right? Like, this situation is better than it was last year. So if they're
It
getting to
is.
the red zone a lot more, Rico thrives there. So I'm not against it, and I think the price point for him for potentially a starting running back, it's the same situation like last year with the Steelers. You're gonna get those guys later, and it's really like, who do you prefer? And you kind of have to be okay with making the wrong decision. You know, a la the Jags. If you were a Tootin guy, I couldn't completely fault you for being a Tootin guy. I planted my flag with Travis Etienne. If I was wrong, there was writing on the wall that it potentially could be wrong too. You just have to come to that decision. And what that costs in Dynasty, I haven't really seen much trades for Rico since the deal, but I don't think it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to take a stab at what could be a productive piece for you. If you had Jalen Warren the first half of the year, you were living on cloud nine. If you ended up with Kenneth Gainwell the back half of the year, you were living on cloud nine. And both those guys were way past a sixth, seventh, eighth round pick. Can't be
Yeah.
mad at that, right? So I think you're falling into a similar situation with the Steelers this year.
Yeah, I agree. All depends on who's under center, but like we said, they got the pieces. It should be an upgrade for everybody. And I hate that I have to say that out loud, but they're still a solid team, man. They always find a way to be relevant.
They always do.
Uh,
AFC North
so
always tries to keep things strong, man.
yeah.
There's few
So
people coming up the back end just doing nothing. Even Cleveland trying to make some noise out there, right? No big RB moves there, so we won't really discuss them. But Rashad White, I think, is the last one we'll kind of cover for this
yeah.
vid. Goes to Washington with a team that has an Austin Eckler who tore his ACL and MCL. He blew his whole knee out, so we don't know if we'll be seeing him back in a Washington Commanders jersey anytime soon. They got super hype with Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt last year. People were taking JCM in the 4th round of drafts because he's that guy. He wasn't much that guy. He didn't end up being what people expected. He didn't really, he sold you a bill of goods essentially. Was not the piece that you were drafting. So they go out there and they get Rashad White. Once a fantasy darling because of what he could provide in the pass catching game, and he's a little bit of a taller back, and he's shifty and elusive, and could get upfield. He hasn't produced at what his hype was coming out of Arizona State multiple years ago, but I will say, in a backfield that should be his, barring a drafted running back, I don't think they love JCM. With a dual threat quarterback that's familiar with him, depending where he's going, he won't be a bad late round pick. We started seeing shades of what he could be with Tampa last year in a split backfield. If this offense decides to be a little bit closer to what they were 2 years ago, not last year, he could be a fun depth piece to have. Me personally, if he's anywhere higher than an 8th round pick, I'm not on board. Just because I don't love the talent. And in Dynasty especially, I'm not really going out of my way to trade for him or acquire him. I don't really want much pieces of the Commanders' offense, honestly, to be real with you. I'm more of a show improve with that roster.
Yeah.
They don't really, I have a lot of Terry McLaurin. I'm not trying to buy any more Terry McLaurin, and honestly, if I can move off of Terry McLaurin, right now I'm thinking about a deal I'm working. I'm trying to get Trey McBride on my roster. It's one of the oldest dynasty
Oh,
leagues
big
I've been in.
boys.
It's half PPR. I'm trying to acquire Trey McBride, and I'm seeing if I could do like a Trey McBride and a first in 2027 for Nico Collins and Terry. I don't think I'll be able to pull that off,
That's a
but
stretch. Yeah. They
that's where
got
my
to be a
mind's
big
at.
Nico guy.
Well, he wants to do Nico and a 27 first for Trey, and I'm like, that's a little bit pricey for me.
But that's accurate though.
Um,
That's Trey
the thing is, it's
McBride.
not boosted.
Is it not tight end premium?
Nope,
Oh, then okay, it's not
it's
worth
not
it.
boosted.
Not worth
I
it.
mean, no, he's still
Mm,
one of those guys. Like, there's a few tight ends that it doesn't matter tight end premium or not. The Brock Bowers, when he's healthy and has somebody with a competent
yeah.
brain to throw him the football.
It's just the
The
draft pick though, bro. It's the 27, man. You gotta those are sacred right now.
I know,
Those are
I know,
sacred.
and
There's
my
no
my
shot.
roster. This is the other part of the oldest dynasty league that I'm in. It's single QB still.
Yuck.
So I know it's single QB still. So there's no like incentive to try to have a ton of picks because you're not drafting a quarterback necessarily until like the 3rd round. So positional draft with a lot of positional value, great. But they're going to be gone by the back half of the
Yeah,
first, maybe early second, if it's really truly loaded, which 27 has the potential to be loaded. Um,
it
but I
is.
don't think my roster is bad enough to be at the front half where it's comfortable that I'll be getting a guy that I'm good with. You know what I
Is
mean?
it 10 or 12, man?
10.
10?
I think 10.
Keeping that first, brother. You're crazy. There's no it could be a late first. It's still a 10-man league. Someone always holds. Someone always gets their guy. Someone
I
always
mean, yeah. I
falls.
mean, this is a
Like,
league where like Jettas went 1-7 in the rookie
yeah.
draft, and there's potential
Yeah.
to sneak something like that. Pull a
I,
crazy. Nico Collins was a 2nd round pick because I mean nobody was in love with Nico coming out of college.
that's facts.
Um, so there's guys like that you can kind of sneak up and get gifted on. But back to the main point, the Commanders offensive players, based on just what it looked like last year, are not at a good premium price point from a seller's perspective. So Unless you're absolutely in love with the talent. If you're willing to take a stab on Rashad White, I'm sure somebody would be willing to deal him to you. But if they're dealing him to you at a starting running back price, that's usually a little bit too expensive for me if I don't love the talent, right? So
Yeah.
I'm off that. For real football, it might be a good move for the Commanders. Unfortunately, I don't see the Commanders really recreating that magic of Jaden Daniels' rookie year. Um, I think there's going to be a lot of tough uphill sledding for that roster coming into this next year. What says you?
I for this is I don't know why I feel this because I never really liked Rashad White, but I like the gamble. For what you have to pay to acquire, I don't think it's much. I don't think anyone's in love with him being there. I think a lot of people are gonna like you're saying, what we saw last year should be a reflection. But I do think Rashad's skill set can flourish in that offense just because of what he can offer. Because there will be volume. They still like running backs. Like we still saw last year, what was everyone's draft lover outside of Dobbins was another guy that got drafted way too high because of the situation. So once again, all things fair, if Jaden Daniels is healthy, he's still a dual threat. He still helps any running back get an extra 2, 3, 4 off a carry just from the hesitation of him might taking off too. So that's why I'm like, oh, I'm willing to roll the
You're
dice.
willing to roll the dice on it. I mean,
Yeah.
price point and redraft might be making it worth it.
Yeah.
But again, if you're talking higher than 8 rounds, if I got to get Rashad White in the 5th or the 6th, I'm done. I don't think I'll be there necessarily. Haven't done
Yeah.
much mock drafts. We'll get to that point where we'll have like more accurate price points on these guys. But as of
Yeah.
March, I'm not a buyer on the Rashad White bandwagon. There's one guy we didn't cover that we need to, even though we said Rashad White was going to be the last one. David Montgomery.
Oh yeah. Forgot
Sonic
about him.
and Knuckles have broken up, and it's truly a sad day for Detroit Lion fans. But for fantasy, people are rejoicing. Because if you believe in Jahmyr Gibbs, the way a lot of people believe in Jahmyr Gibbs, like this guy here on this pod with me, you're looking at potentially a crazy situation for Jahmyr Gibbs now that he's solo. Isaiah Pacheco signed there. I mean what I said.
Okay, call your
Now
ref.
that Jahmyr Gibbs is solo,
Yeah.
it's about to be crazy because I feel like the volume is just going to be insane for him there, right? As a guy who started to believe in Gibbs a little bit more due to our player profile coverage of that draft, right? And then we've seen what he's done since he's gotten in the league. I'm glad to see him with the ball in his hands, probably at a 75 to 80% clip, and an offensive line that's still somewhat decent. They've lost some pieces with wide receivers that could still challenge DBs, so you have to cover them well. St. Brown, Jameson Williams, right? Tesla even being a bit of a factor out there when he gets out there. I'm excited for Gibbs. If anything, if you're a Gibbs owner, it's through the roof for him, right?
Yeah.
Acquisition price might be worth it on this one because the talent has been very clear. I feel like it's an easy smash spot in redraft. I thought it
Oh,
was a
easy.
percent. Easy smash spot. He's probably going to be a top 4 pick. I'm not mad at it. If he goes number
Easy.
1 through 4 in redraft, I am not mad at it at all. It makes sense in the world. Makes all the sense in the world. Averaged a little bit over 24 points a game, I think is what it was, without D-Mod on the field. There's not many running backs with that level of volume anymore in dynasty football, right? Especially in dynasty football for sure, but especially when you're talking redraft, it's tough to be able to acquire one of those guys, right? So that's great for Jahmyr Gibbs. The D-Mont side gets traded to the Texans. So here's my deal with D-Mont. I was on the D-Mont train when he got drafted to Chicago. I've seen what a D-Mont backfield looks like with him having all the touches and getting all the volume. It's not bad, but it's not. He wasn't an overwhelming factor in Chicago. That's why he was able to end up on a Detroit Lions roster pretty much scot-free, right? Because they drafted D-Mont with the expectations of him being their franchise running back. There's always a meme that pops up of how they described him coming out of the draft. It was like power of Adrian Peterson, cut speed of Saquon Barkley. Like they had him like as this Frankenstein running back that had the best assets of all the best running backs that recently came out. He didn't really shape up to be that, right? If you told me if you told me David Montgomery had gotten traded to the Chiefs, golden,
Yeah.
decent enough talent, fits what they need, right? Faster, better pass catching Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs, love it. He ends up in a spot that Chris mentioned as one of the worst landing spots for running backs because of what their offensive line looks like, because of the level of play their quarterback's been playing at. He is the Texans starting running back. And the situation is not fantastic at all. And I don't think they'll be in the red zone that much at all. And I think unless they make some huge moves on the offensive line in the draft, we're in for another rough year for Stroud and Mills and unfortunately Demont. And I'm not saying you're not going to stumble into some good games, but are you going to be confident putting Demont into the starting lineup every week? Heck no, right? And honestly, his price point, I'm not going to say tanked because he's getting more touches, but people had more faith in Demont on the Lions, in my understanding, than Demont on the Texans
Yeah.
in conversations I've had since he's gotten moved, right? So, like, as an asset, that hurts, right? Sometimes it's good to be in a two-headed backfield in an offense that caters to both guys. Granted, his usage went down quite a bit last year, and because the offense was a lot worse, his touchdowns accounted for went down by a lot last year. But that offense is still going to be a better offense than the Houston offense this year. Pretty confident in that statement. So if I have Demont and I'm willing to sell somebody on the fact that Demont's the RB1 for a playoff caliber team, I'm doing it. I'm getting off Demont if I could get off Demont for a good price. Because I've seen the Demont show before where he gets all the touches and he's not, 40 to 45% snap share guy. When that snap share goes up, the product gets a lot worse for me. No breakaway speed. Again, not overly elusive. And at this point in his career, I'm good on that, right? And especially with the situation, I'm good on that. In redraft, unfortunately, him being the RB1 of a playoff caliber team, unless people are looking at what that looks like behind a bad O-line, it's going to be a little bit too high for me as well. And I'm good on that. So I'm off the Demont train for this year in Dynasty and Redraft. What says you?
I was never on it, not getting on it. Yeah, good luck. You hit it right on the head. Good luck. I have nothing else to add to that. Right. Short and simple, avoid. Unless you force me to take him because the value is immense and like super late in the draft, by all means. I'm a
Everybody
value
has a
guy.
price. You said it yourself,
Yeah,
right?
everyone got a
Like,
price, but like,
if you're a starting running back and I could get you in the 10th, 11th round, 9th round, like,
yeah. Even then, like I'm not ecstatic about it.
I'm not
I
ecstatic
know
about
it's a
it.
good move. I know it's a smart move. But I'm not like, yes, I got him. Like, it is what it
I
is.
had Tony Pollard every year last year, and I was just like, ugh. Do I
Yeah.
really want Tony Pollard? At the back half
Like,
of the year, he had some
yeah.
moments.
Start
But do
thinking
you
about
want?
yourself. Like,
Do
do I
you
have a
want?
problem?
Yeah,
Like,
do you
is it
want a guy like that consistently in your lineup? No. But if I'm trotting out, say, a Jahmyr Gibbs, shoot, I'm trying to think of another guy that I'd take like third round or something. Say I have like Jahmyr Gibbs and JT.
what?
I don't think you could really do that
Devin A. Chain?
in
I think he's
reach.
in that.
Okay, Devin A. Chain's price point definitely went down immensely, right?
Yeah.
But let's say you have Devon A. Chain, Jahmyr Gibbs. You started off with two running backs, high pass catching volume, should get all the touches on their offense, right? You start off with those two, and then you load up on wide receivers in those middle rounds, and then it comes around, you have your roster all filled out, and you need your first flex / first bench player, and David Montgomery staring you in the face in the 8th round. And everybody around him is an RB2 on their own team. Or you're looking at guys like Xavier Worthy. You know what I mean? I'm going to go with Demont. Because again, volume sometimes is key. Volume sometimes is king. And if he has one big 2-touchdown game in the early part of the year, I'm selling. It's easier to sell somebody like that who's going to have the volume off of one big boom game than a Xavier Worthy having one flash in the pan game, and you still have to look and be like, okay, he's contending with Rashee Rice, Kenneth Walker, Travis Kelce, right? And even when he's been the only guy out there, he hasn't really shown out consistently. Think about Christian Watson, your boy, balled out last year. You could get him for the free ski for 2.5 years.
Yeah, I did a couple of leagues that no longer exist, but I got him.
Right?
Yeah.
You could buy Christian Watson for the cheap ski, and now he's that guy. You get a running back who's getting that volume. Uncle Rico was untouchable in the middle part of last year, off of 3 games on a quote unquote bad team at the time, right? So it's tough to find that running back with volume that's scoring. Once you get that guy, his price point skyrockets over the wide receivers. So give me him super late. Everybody has a price, but I'm not looking for him. I'm
Valid.
good on that.
Good on that. Perfect way to end that too.
Yeah.
I feel I can go to sleep on that and just have peace knowing that I'm not missing much.
You're not missing much, man.
At
There
all.
were some fun moves in the offseason. The offseason isn't over. All of these things that we talked about in this video could come around and just get lit on fire when some of these rosters change on draft night, which is the back end of April, or when we get into, off-season camp and into training camp, and a lot of these teams start shaping out their depth charts, and some guys start looking better than others, and some guys start, unfortunately, getting hurt. But as of now, on March 26th, this is our feelings on a lot of the off-season moves on the running back rooms, man. We will be back to give you draft prospects. We will be back to give you wide receiver moves in the offseason so far, which has been fairly quiet, surprisingly. We will be back to talk about quarterbacks, because there's some teams that have some new guys and there's some teams that are still looking for their person. And we're back to just kind of cover the teams in general. We will be covering predictions for the divisions. We will be covering dark horses to go to the playoffs. We will be covering dark horses to win their divisions, a bunch of stuff. So stick with us for your fantasy football and your normal football coverage. And as you know, our MMA coverage that we've been doing. Just stick with us on Kick and Post. We appreciate the support, the love. Please like, subscribe, and share. Any closing thoughts, Chris?
Yes. As what I told you earlier. If the Cincinnati Bengals draft a certain person, we'll see you in the Super Bowl. That's all I gotta say. All I gotta say.
Sin City's coming back, is what I heard. And I'm excited for it, When he's giddy, Sin City comes back. So when there's hope, we get some more Sin City vids. I'm with it. Can't wait to see those, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.